ceremony that is a closing, but is also an opening to the future of the collaboration between the OECD and Egypt, and also the future of the very ambitious program of reforms in Egypt, which is something of extreme importance, not only for Egypt, but also for the region and also for the world. We know the very important place that Egypt occupies in the MENA region, and also the importance for all the neighbors, and the OECD countries put a lot of emphasis in our discussions about the importance of working together. Egypt is a priority for the OECD, and we are very pleased that our collaboration that is already more than 2 decades of very important work together is always making progress. And as it has been mentioned already several times today, a very important decision has been made by the OECD membership and the government of Egypt to launch together a country program, which is a very advanced opportunity of bilateral collaboration between Egypt and the OECD. Country program is a way for a country that aspires to reach the higher international standards in economic performance to work together with the OECD in that direction. And today we have mentioned several elements that are critical for our daily work. A lot has been said in the importance of information, data, transparency. The quality of the reforms and the impact of the public policies cannot happen if there is no good institutional conditions to really put together evidence-based policies. On that, the OECD, as you know, is very well placed to go in that direction. Standards have been mentioned several times. We are operating in a global economy, and in a global economy, a country like Egypt that wants to fully integrate and taking the advantage of the opportunities of the global economy, and is especially attracting, has put as a priority attracting investment and making of the country an important hub for trade, industries, etc. Complying with international standards is essential because this provides the predictability that has been mentioned, the credibility of the effort of reforms, and the sustainability of the effort of reform. Egypt has already been working with the OECD in incorporating some of our standards to the policy making, and the country program will be an excellent opportunity to scale up very much that objective. I'd like to give a very concrete example. We are working, for example, with the Suez Canal Special Economic Zone. That is one of the important mega projects of Egypt. We all know the Suez Canal, that is a myth for all the humankind. We somehow in our dreams. And the Suez Canal has a tremendous potential to become one global hub for trade, for industry, for connectivity that can play a major role in the global economy. Egypt is working very hard on setting the conditions in this special economic zone to make a difference in terms of attracting investment, on creating job opportunities, and having a positive contribution to the Egyptian economy. We are very grateful to the European Union that is supporting this project in the context of their collaboration with Egypt, and it's a good example of how international standards can, let's say, improve the conditions to have an impact on the economy. During the panels of the day, we have seen that making reform happen is a complex exercise because it incorporates the need. It's very multidimensional. At the end, all the policies are connected, the ones with the others. We saw when we were looking into the overall economic conditions, the importance of working on good governance instruments and good institutional setting, how to connect this with the private sector, how with the foreign investors, how with the SMEs, how with the informality. It's important to have horizontal instruments that make possible for the different institutions, for the different policy actors, for the working together, including, of course, the private sector, the civil society, the academia, etc. As I mentioned, the country program will be a good opportunity to advance in this direction. We are in the preliminary steps of defining the country program with the leadership and the help of my friend Ambassador Khalid Shama and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of course, playing a very important role. We are very excited about this opportunity and convinced that making of this an inclusive exercise with the different institutions and the different relevant actors in Egypt can really make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Carlos. I think you didn't leave anything to say after what you've been saying. Well, I would like first to commend the work that has been done by OECD in preparing this stock-taking report on Egypt, which in my view, it's a periodical report about the achievements of Egypt in terms of its economic growth, targeting sustainable economic growth. This report has been prepared in collaboration and coordination with the Egyptian authorities, with the OECD responsibles. And I think the outcomes that we discussed today, they may constitute a very important input for our new country program scheduled to start consultations on by maybe beginning of September, maybe, or even before if we have the opportunity. I have some remarks about what have been said that we can use them as main elements and, of priorities that should be tackled by our new country program. First of all, the social impact of our policies of reforms, how we can measure the efficiency and the efficiency of the public expenditure on social affairs. This is a very important impact, at least because it ends up by serving the people, the individuals, the poor people. It's an institutional element for tackling poverty and other social aspects. Second point, which was discussed in the second session here, transparency, efficiency on public institutions. I think this was one of the most important sessions and topics we tackled today, taking into consideration that the reforms of our public institutions may lead to resolvement of 50% of our economic problems. Having good institutions may lead, without further reforms, may lead to a better performance on the economy. The political will was something as well mentioned today. Maybe Dr. Abla mentioned that we had several periods of reforms. However, it lacked continuity and sustainability. Now, in these days, we have the political will showed exactly that we are on the right track. There is a political will to move forward for a better position in the near future. However, maybe I think that the idea of reforms should be seen on two ways. First of all, the long-term reforms, because it's directly linked to a deeply rooted culture within the society. They refuse to change. And that idea was issued, maybe was mentioned by Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Portugal. And we need also to tackle the short-term reforms that are being undertaken right now, something like the subsidies and the currency rate, which are going well for the time being. So I think that may lead us as well to something very important, using the issue of digitalization. The digital economy is an essential way to expedite the transformation of the economy. Now, maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, I was with the ministry, was responsible of the Ministry of Telecommunication, and I found out that so far there is a special file for each individual in Egypt right now prepared, saying everything about his property, his name, his activity, everything related to it. And by doing that, by integrating the database from several areas, it led to a surplus of 12 billion pounds in terms of subsidies. We economized 12 billion pounds in one single issue. Imagine if we can follow up with the digitalization, how we can at least spare some amount for public investments. Third and final maybe observation I would like to mention here is related to how to attractive environment for investments. Few ideas were mentioned about how to enhance within a financial strategy, how to enhance the SMEs. I would like, for example, maybe in our culture program and maybe in our future laws, to determine a specific amount, as the Japanese did half a century ago, to determine a 30% of the public operations through the subcontractors to be directed in favor of or by the SMEs. This is very essential element to enhance their possibility and their empowerment, and to give maybe a way to eradicate poverty, maybe within the small or the small projects. I think Dr. Ziad as well mentioned a very important way when he talked about clarity and predictability. I think this will lead us as well to attract more investments in a better way, on a sustainable way. Thank you very much.
One last word by Nicolas and Dr. Abou Abdelatif.
You want to speak first? Okay. We wanted to thank you all for being here today. I want to thank Abla in particular from the OECD and ECSS for organizing this conference. I want to thank also on our side Guillaume Le Carros Descossiaux, who actually organized the whole thing together with Magda. So I give the floor to Abla.
Thank you very much for today. The purpose was to have an alive discussion with all stakeholders in the economy, the government, private sector, and civil society. I think we have done it. I think it will improve the direction and the quality of the country report that's upcoming, and it's also helping our agenda, and we are all in the right direction. So I thank you all for this. I thank Nicolas and his team, and this lovely guy whose first name I'm always incapable of pronouncing. I don't know why, but it's very nice fellow. I would like to thank ECS, my team, chair, board, and my researchers and my administrative body, and particularly Mrs. Magda Audallah, who actually took care of all the communication and all the logistic arrangements of this. So please, all ECS, please stand up, please. I want you to clap for my team. Thank you very much, and we'll see you very soon in our next event. Thank you.